So I just noticed something very interesting, and I wonder how many other people have picked up on this as well. But if you remember way back in chapter 1, right? When Luffy knocked out the Lord of the Coast, which is this big flotsam and jetsam looking dude from The Little Mermaid, right? It's a big eel sea king. He knocks it out, and that's sort of like the intro to the start of his journey. Okay? This is also a sea monster that played a significant role in a very important event in his childhood because, of course, the Lord of the Coast apparently is the strongest sea king in the world because it was able to bite off a Yonko's arm and red-haired Shanks. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that a monster that plagued Luffy during his childhood was defeated when Luffy started his journey as a pirate. That's the important part we're focusing on here today. Why is that interesting? Well, Bonnie has the same sort of intro to her start as a pirate, because what does Bonnie do? Bonnie is plagued during the very important part of her childhood and when she's getting better by Cypherpole 8 Agent Alpha, because even though Vegapunk's treatment was absolute and she's only there to watch Bonnie as she recuperates, she does all these unnecessary things to Bonnie, like gives her like weird lemon flavored soda pop and says that's medicine, or she just continuously tears up these very heartfelt letters from her father Kuma to her because Alpha is just awful. Like, I don't get that part. Like, why are you tearing up these father's letters to his baby? What's the point in that? It's just being evil. It's just evil. But that's beside the point. The point is that Alpha was Bonnie's sea monster. She was a monster present in her life. And much like the Lord of the Coast with Luffy, she acts as a barrier of entry to Bonnie from starting her adventure. And much like the Lord of the Coast, Bonnie knocks Alpha out with a huge Devil Fruit imbued punch, much like what Luffy does at the start of his journey. So in both situations, you have the main character of said situation knocking out a childhood foe with their newfound and trained abilities. It doesn't help, or you could say it does help, that in both situations you could say Nika is involved, because we find out that Luffy of course has the human fruit model Nika, and then Bonnie is acting like Nika or is using distorted future to put herself in a Nika-like future to give her the strength to knock out this metaphorical sea beast that's chasing her down and forbidding her to live her life in finding her father. So yeah, both big sea beasts, in a way, get defeated by a big punch. That's the point here. Another interesting case that I don't know if a lot of people were paying attention to is that the jewelry Marguerite is just like a modified fishing vessel. It's not a vessel made for globe trotting or globe sailing or whatever the term is. It's just a fishing boat. This is very funny to me because it reminds me of the Mary. The Mary was just like a cruise ship for bumming about in the East Blue. It wasn't made for globetrotting and wasn't made for going up the knock-up stream or scaling reverse map. It wasn't made for that. So both of these characters, Luffy and Bonnie, kind of went through like unspeakable odds with ships very much not made for the voyages that they were going on. So that's a parallel there that I find very interesting. And with that being said, those are a few more things I saw that are comparisons between Bonnie and Luffy, and more fuel for the fire as to why she'll probably be the 10th member. Also on that, when I call her the 10th member, I'm referring to Luffy as being number 0 and Jinbei being number 9. If you look in the chapter where Brook joins, for example, it is called the 8. So when counting crewmates, even though it's been done both ways, I'll give you that in the franchise, but the sort of correct way I think, when counting crewmates, when it comes to how many people are joining, is that you don't count Luffy and then say Zoro will be number 1, Nami will be number 2, and so on and so forth. And there are several chapters, not just Brooks, but there are several chapters in which the people who are the stars of said chapter are named in the chapter, such as the chapter when Zoro joins, I believe it's called the first. When Nami officially joins, it's called the second person. When Usopp rejoins back at the end of Enies Lobby, it's called the third and the seventh person. The seventh meaning Frank. The only 3 members now who don't have chapters entitled with their sort of joining number are Chomper, Robin, and now Jinbei. I'm not sure if that means anything. I've always felt that weird. But yeah, long story short, Bonnie would be the 10th. Not necessarily meaning she'll be the last, though that is a hot button issue, but she most likely will be the 10th. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching.